following a strong defensive performance in the postseason that honestly won us the wild card and divisional round. They put forth a fantastic effort in the NFC Conference Championship, but late on in the game, we were robbed of a touchdown, ultimately costing us the game as we would lose to the Atlanta Falcons 19-14, ending our Super Bowl hopes. As we start off this episode, a big old asterisk to what could possibly be the final episode of the Virginia's States Only Challenge, all depending on how we do in Season 5 following this NFC Conference Championship game. If you missed the last game, definitely go watch it. When there was limited time left on the clock, we had that touchdown to Wicks, but Madden pulled a Madden and ultimately could cost us a lot here, as we are down to the final season of the State Only Challenge, or States Only Challenge in this case. We could only go through 5 years. This is the first and only State Only Challenge to go to that last and final year. So if all goes well and we make it back to the postseason and we win the Super Bowl, technically this will still be the worst of the state-only challenges, and arguably so after how the first 3 seasons went, where we only managed to win a combined 7 games. We did pretty well this last year, going 9-8, nearly winning the NFC East, doing defensively played so well in the postseason. The offense struggled to show up at times, and unfortunately when they did finally show up there at the end, we didn't get the call. So today will be exactly like, hopefully, exactly like what we had for the regular season of Season 4. We're going to go through the off-season, the regular season, all the way up to the postseason and see if we make our way back into the playoffs. If we don't, this will be the last and final, for now, of the Virginia's States Only Challenge. So just in case, go ahead right now, head over to the community tab on this channel where you will see a poll for the next State Only Challenge that we may be starting next Wednesday or maybe later. Again, all depends on if we make the playoffs. So definitely go do that right now and let's continue on. And by continue on, see if we have any Pro Bowlers and see who won the Super Bowl. And we do actually have at least one Proler. Haven't gone through the whole list myself, but Zacchaeus did make it as the 3rd receiver for the NFC team, with the likes of Kupp, Hill, Hodgins, and Chase, and Ayuk. So in good company. He was our starting #1 receiver this year, despite not giving that opportunity any year prior, and he showed out for us. We did also have Christian Darrisaw, even though he did give up quite a few sacks this year, which was surprising for him, but 2 Pro Bowlers on offense. Make that 3, with Wyatt Teller also making it at right guard. And the first possible defender is another one for us, Jimenez, one of the guys we traded for. He's the #1 left end. And Terrell Edmonds had a really good year at middle linebacker. He's the linebacker #2. A little bit of a surprise. And he would be the last. So we had 3 on offense, 2 on defense. That is probably the best we've seen so far. And at least in a fitting fashion, the season ends with the Falcons winning the Super Bowl 28-21, their first Super Bowl championship, their 4th time winning the NFC championship. So but I guess it was their time as well. Unfortunately, hate to see though that it's the team that should not have won that game that wins it all. So it could have very well been a Super Bowl victory for us and a Season 4 finish for the Virginia's Only Challenge if Madden did not mess up. But that officially starts the offseason here, and the big ones to take a look at, it's the retirements to see if we lost anyone. And surprisingly, we have not. Geno Smith was 35 years old. I expected him to retire. We'll have to check on regression and see where we stand. So as it currently sits, Geno really didn't drop much at all, though he is getting a little bit of a boost at +1. So he's actually a 73 once you do all the math there. His current ratings, I mean, he still has a good deep. The short accuracy is actually an 83, with medium being a 78. Primarily, it is the awareness that is the big concern with this quarterback group, and Geno still has that 81. Throw power is definitely regressing. It's down to an 84. He's getting a +3 right there, and he'll keep that because I'm pretty sure we have that with a coaching boost. Now, we have a couple other quarterback options, but the main reason that we stuck with Geno was that awareness. Webster, who could very well start, he has the future starter tag. He only has 67 awareness. Throw power, though, is pretty good. Willis does have the best. The accuracies across the board, I do like what I see with Webster, but it all comes down to that awareness. So it looks like Geno will give us one last season. As for Herbert, he has continued to regress a little bit. He worked really well as that running back 2 last year. We'll look to keep him in that same role, and fingers crossed, knock on wood, Richard stays healthy. Now, the other group of concern was this receiving group. Now, Zacchaeus is down to a 76. Pascal has dropped all the way down to a 68. So he pretty much in the entirety is no longer a main part of this team, as we'll see Douglas and McLeod have an increased role, and maybe if there happens to be, I can't quite remember off the top of my head, anyone in the draft, they could also make a run for some playing time. But the main two will continue to be Zacchaeus and Wicks. Now, Jimenez does look like he regressed a little bit, actually a 74 to get rid of the morale, and he did lose a couple things, some finesse moves, -4, which is really unfortunate, but he did get a boost to star dev, so hopefully that'll kind of balance out his finesse moves, still at a 77. We also saw a little bit of some regression for Tim Settle, who is definitely our second best defensive lineman, and he saw a good bit across the board with a big hit to his block shedding, actually a -6, which leaves him with 71 block shedding. So we might need to put someone else in the run stop when it comes to, well, stopping the run. Right now, he has the worst of our defensive tackles with Mike Green, who was a starter, regular player for us last year, did pretty well in the postseason as well. Currently the highest at a 76. Potentially Marlon Yancey maybe would even have to play a little bit in the base packages. We'll kind of have to shift around this defensive line, see who all could step up where. Potentially Lynn Noel moves to DT. Gonna have to mess with this team for sure. We also saw a big hit here for Kaiser White, who had slowly started to lose some of his playing time, but he definitely took a big hit. A lot of negatives here, including a -8 tackle, lost his cover skills as well. So he's definitely going to be a rotational guy. Maybe does he have a mentor tag? No, just a bridge player. So that is a bit unfortunate. As for the cornerback group, it does look like Kendall Fuller and Douglas both still keeping their ratings pretty decent. So we should be good to go again for another year of the same cornerback group, with Jamie French continuing on in the slot. But of course, all that comes before we actually go through and re-sign some players. Now, the first thing we have to do is accept a 5th-year option here for Clifton Richards, and we're definitely going to do that. No craziness there. Wyatt Teller, one of our best offensive linemen. We're going to need to pay him pretty well. Let's actually bump this up a little bit. We have plenty of money to spend, so we have one last year left. Might as well put out some good offers. He likes the offer, he will stay. We also have Jelani Woods that we're going to need to negotiate with, and it's going to be the same kind of concept for all these guys. I'm fine overpaying a little bit. It's 1 year. He, though, just not interested. We'll try to bring him back in open free agency. Kendall Fuller, though, does have interest. We'll boost up the bonus a little bit, submit that, and he's happy to stick around. And even the same here for Douglas. Again, just going to boost this up a little bit. Want to make sure we lock these guys down, and he will be back. And we can't forget about our Pro Bowl receiver. I actually like this offer the way it is, so we'll just go ahead and submit that one. He's back. Now Demario Douglas, not as interested in staying around, but he's in line to be wide receiver 3 for us. So we'll boost up that offer, and he does like that, so he'll come back as well. As for our defense, have another Pro Bowler here we need to offer to in Jimenez. Now, he has some interest. We boosted up a little bit, so let's make that offer. Another deal done. As for Amari Barno, did get a start for us last year, and he did actually pretty well. We're going to boost this up a little bit because we need as much help as possible on the defensive line. It's one of the weakest groups, and works out well for us here once again. Now, Saldiveri has been a hit-or-miss starter for us, but we did see some regression with one of our other tackles, so we really need Saldiveri to stick around here. He has a lot of interest. We boosted it. He likes it. Another receiver for us who might be in line for some playtime here in McLeod. We'll boost that up a little bit as well. So far, closed free agency working out well for us. But we do have another starter here in Tim Settle. Has interest though, so I'm actually going to see if I can lower that. I like the flat numbers here. And he's fine with it. And trying to bring back that pair, we have Mike Green, who also needs to come back, boost the bonus, and that duo will return. Now, since Gino did not see much of a regression, we are going to try to bring him back. Doesn't have an extreme amount of interest, so we're going to boost this up a little bit. Make it a decent offer, about 6.5 per season, or for 1 year, and he likes it, so Gino's back. Now, everyone else here we might come back to and probably will come back to in open free agency. Pascal, Kaiser White, both of them have regressed to being backup. Maybe some rotational guys for us. Nijman, kind of the same thing. Kuntz was a backup tight end. Don't really think we have to bring him back right now. Thornhill, a safety who did actually play a good bit when we had some injuries at sub-backer. Again, we'll maybe try to bring him back in open free agency. Do need to try to bring back Dalton Keene. He has interest, so we should be good there. Trey Hawkins, good developmental, though 27 years old, slot corner. Try to bring him back. Kenny Robinson Jr. didn't really see much playing time. And then we do need to try to bring back Jelani Woods. 15 mil, though, for a franchise tag. I think that's a little bit too much. So that's where we're going to stick with in closed free agency. Now, in open free agency, we're able to do some things, nothing splashy. We did bring back Jelani Woods, brought back Juan Thornhill, Robinson Jr. We did bring Chuck Clark in. I feel like we had him at one point of this series. I don't think we had him last year. We brought in several backup safeties. Clark and Connor are both coming in. Whether they play safety, corner, maybe even some sub linebacker, who knows? Just bringing in as many top-end talent as we can. We did bring back Yosh Nijman, who could most likely is going to be a backup, potentially a starter on the offensive line. That spot is kind of up for grabs. We also brought back Trey Hawkins and Dalton Keene. So nothing splashy, mostly just bringing back former players. Now moving forward to talk more about the draft. What are our options in terms of guys we can draft? Well, there's a lot of potential undrafted here on the offense, though there are some receiving talent. There is Emmett Little, who is a round 2 to 3 with the actual talent grade of around 3 to 4. He's 6'1", 185 out of Virginia. As for his physicals, I mean, he's a fast dude. He has not much strength. 11 reps, nothing fantastic, but he's a good, quick, agile guy who could kind of replace that of Pascal. Does have good awareness, a little bit of some run blocking. Deep route running is a C, but short and medium are both Ds. Has D release, F catching at best. He's a developmental slot receiver, but he's some talent we could try to bring in. There's also another receiver in Najee Tolbert out of William and Mary, who's a projected day 3, though we do not have the last final talent grade on him. He has some decent size, I mean, over 6 feet tall, some decent speed, a 4.47 to a 4.41, though somehow even less strong compared to the other receiver, though still a pretty good athlete. Does have much better deep route running, that is a B, though medium is an F and short is also an F. D release, catching is a D, so none of these guys are going to be day 1 starters, but maybe we'll see themselves out on the field in some way, shape, or form, maybe even returners. As for the offensive line, really not much. Defensive line, still nothing really there. A lot of potential undrafteds. There is a middle linebacker in Jacoby Lawson, who is a true day 3. Does have some B zone coverage, but F block shed would be depth. Another pass cover guy, but an outside linebacker, so I don't trust it as much, but does have the A zone coverage rating. Now, not that we need any more, but there are some draftable safeties, a round 1 in Tim Fleming, and a round 2 to 3 in Kerry Brown. Now, if they're there, I'm going to take them, because we can move some of these guys around, hopefully, and just see wherever they best fit. That's really what Season 5 is, just take what's there and try to finally get that last win, which is the Super Bowl. So not a whole lot to really look at with this draft, so we'll get through it pretty quickly. Now, as we have actually reached the draft, we did a whole lot of trading back in the previous draft, so we have an absolute ton of picks. I mean, all the round 1 possibilities, because we wanted to be able to pick whoever was available. And clearly there's not a whole lot of round one talent. We could reach on some people for sure, but overall, there's really just the one day one or round one talent. So it doesn't even look to be all that good in the first place in Tim Fleming after we did get some more information on him jumping through the weeks. So we could probably trade away a good bit of these. I'm still going to probably draft Tim Fleming with a first round pick just so we make sure we lock in some of these guys. Might even go Kerry Brown as well. But just a whole lot of picks that unfortunately aren't going to be very helpful for us. So with that first pick that we have, the second overall, we're going to go with Tim Fleming. Again, where he plays, I don't know for sure. He has some speed that I would say would be better at a sub backer, but just doesn't have as much strength. So wherever he plays is where he'll play. He does have some hit power ability. The zone and man coverage both sees, so would be good probably for a sub backer. But overall, nothing too splashy here, but we will make the selection, and he's actually a hidden dev with 88 speed, has some good athletics, again, if he was a backer. Maybe he adds a few pounds on and he could play linebacker for us in the future. Maybe not. And since we have so many first round picks, I think it would probably be best for us to just try to find some teams who don't have a first round pick. We'll trade away the first rounder and we'll just ask for like a future 7 in return. And the first one up is going to be the Denver Broncos. So why don't you give us next year's 7, because we won't be using it. And we'll give over a lovely 3rd overall pick, and you can just have it. Have fun with it. The Dolphins don't actually have a pick until the 3rd round, so they could definitely use a pick here. So again, we'll take their 7. We'll give them, I want to say it's the 5th. Yeah, the 5th overall pick. We'll find another one for the 6th, and maybe even the 28th I think we have as well. There you go, Dolphins. The Lions don't have a pick until the 4th round, so again, we'll take their future 7. And we'll give them the 6th overall pick here. And we have the 26th and the 29th. I feel like I might use the 29th and pick up that other safety just because. Or actually, we do have the receiver who's around 2 to 3, and then we do have that safety who is also around 2 to 3. So we'll probably trade away the next 2 first-round picks and then use the top 2 second-round picks to bring in both of those 2 players. Now, the Dolphins don't have a second-round pick. I'm pretty sure we already gave them one of our first, but I feel like we could go ahead and just make that trade. We'll ask for even a further down the line 7 because, again, we don't need them. And we'll give them the 26. So it's close to the second round. I feel like it's at least kind of close. We'll say that they traded up for something and they could get another first. And with our final first round pick, we're just going to give it to the Vikings because the Vikings need all the help that they can get. So you know what? We'll take their future 6. We'll give them another first round pick, the last of the bundle for us. And then we can finally make some more selections. So there you go, Vikings. So now we finally have 2 back-to-back picks in the second round. And as mentioned, I think we're going to go after the receiver and safety. The receiver we need more. So we're going to go with Emmett Little first. I know he's actually around 3 to 4. I'm just making sure we bring in the guys that we don't miss out. So we bring in a normal dev receiver, though. He's a speedster. 95 speed, 95 acceleration. Good change of direction at a 90. He might just potentially be a returner for us, but maybe he'll make some splash plays. And then the very next pick, we'll be going with Kerry Brown. Do we need the safety? No. But he has some good speed, actually has some decent strength to him, has some finesse, has some hit power, so potentially maybe even a blitzing linebacker. The man coverage is a little bit low, tackle also a little bit low at free safety, so that is a little bit concerning. But either way, we're going to bring him in for some depth, has some good speed. We'll see where he fits. Now, we still have quite a lot of picks left. We have 7 still. Now on our board, we have 19, but not all of those, are really not many of any of these guys left, are actual potential draftable players. We have 1 on offense in the receiver in Najee Tolbert, and then a couple of linebackers. One of those linebackers, unfortunately, is a potential undrafted true talent. So I think we'll probably trade back a little bit here, trade away at least the next 2 picks, give them to a lucky team, and then with the 4th down, we just go ahead and make some selections for fun. Now, I don't think we've sent anything to the Panthers yet. They only have 3 picks left, a 3rd, 5th, and a 6th. So again, let's just ask for their future 7, and we'll bundle up our next 2 picks, which is going to be one in the second round, one in the third round. Should be a decent little haul for them, and they're definitely not going to argue with it. But as we've jumped forward now to late on in the 4th round, that receiver is still available. As for the linebackers, the middle linebacker did go, was a day 3 guy, so apparently was a pretty high day 3, actually around maybe 3 to 4 perhaps, so we missed out on one guy. We could have used some depth at linebacker, but we have plenty of safeties to help fill that spot, so let's address some depth at receiver, going with Najee Tolbert, who again, it's pretty decent speed, not very strong at all. We'll see where he's going to fit in, but we need some depth. Has 91 speed, 96 acceleration, good change of direction and agility, jumping a little bit low, but you know, it is what it is. We'll see where he fits. Now with these 17 players that we have left, obviously we do have the technical draftable player with the projection, though we know his actual true talent is undraftable. So who do we think could actually be decent for us? There is a run stopper who has B-zone coverage, again, an outside linebacker, so we can't fully trust that. There is a DT here, Rogers, who does have good tackle ability, decent block, shed, and finesse moves. We saw some regression with Tim Settle. He could be a good guy to go after. It's unknown anything really about Stan Carter here, who's a different way of spelling it. That's fun. So not quite sure there. Doesn't look like a lot of talent for McKee. Hackett, potentially some power moves there, but can't quite bet on it. Again, kind of a toss-up here with Cameron Brooks, though I expect the pass rush to be at probably D's or F's, considering he is a run stopper with the C block shed. And then Middleton, really not a whole lot there. So I do think the actual intriguing guy is going to be Tyreek Rogers. Might be a little bit of an overdraft, but it's technically a draft of need, as we do need some block shedding ability. He has good strength, so we'll see what the man can do, as he's a normal dev with 90 strength, 81 acceleration, 70 speed, not too bad down the middle. With our late 5th round pick, anyone we want to go after? The running back here, Will Himes, does seem intriguing, does have good ball carrier vision and carrying, potential good break tackle. Doesn't look to be much of a catching running back with C to F, but intriguing. And the offensive linemen don't really seem to be very good, so sure, why not? Let's go after Will Himes, the running back out of Virginia, 6'1", 225. Some decent speed with, yeah, some definite strength in there. Not great 3-cone or 20, but again, we'll see where he fits. And he's a hidden dev with 88 speed, 78 strength, 90 acceleration with 86 agility. Change of direction is a bit low at 75, so probably not going to be a returner, but straight down the hill runner, not bad. And we do still have quite a few players on the board with 2 selections left, though most likely a lot of these guys could end up going by that late 7th round pick. So we need to be a little bit more precision here with who we go after, and I do think it's going to be Jonathan Fry, because the potential there looks really good. He's an outside linebacker, so I can't fully trust the cover ratings. But we need depth at this position. He's not extremely fast, so that is a bit unfortunate. But again, we need some depth there. We'll gladly take it. Jonathan Fry is a normal dev with 82 speed, not as bad as I thought it could have been, with 76 strength, 84 acceleration, some agility, not much of jumping or change of direction. And actually, we were the only one to take any of the guys off our board within that last round. So with our last and final pick here, do we save the potential falling Earl Henson? We know the potential undrafted though, so probably not. But is there anyone else that just screams we'd need to pick him up and make sure that we get him? We don't really need any other fullbacks. We could go after another backup quarterback in Victor Jordan, though the deep accuracy and short accuracy are really bad. Maybe, potentially, might be able to move him over to a tight end, being 6'5", 229. No idea if he has any sort of catching ability. He's not extremely fast either, nor is he very strong, so probably not much of a tight end, unfortunately. And I think what we're going to go with here is Cameron Brooks to be our last and final draftee of the Virginia's States Only Challenge. He's listed as the run stop. He has that C block shedding, so I don't expect anything massive from him, but he has some good strength. He's going to be a guy we could again put at DT, stick him down the middle. Tackling isn't going to be great. We just need him to suck up some blocks. We'll see if he can do it, but that is our last and final draft class. Now, do we happen to have any surprises in this draft? It's time to find out as we take a look at the group. We have some decent ratings here, actually, at least at the top. Tim Fleming is 72 at free safety. Again, whether he starts there or not, who knows? And Emmett Little actually has some ratings that could put him into some form of starting rotation spot. He's going to compete with Douglas, for sure. Catching is getting a good boost, which he needs. Short route running, okay. Deep route running, okay. I mean, he's going to have some ability out there. He has some run after the catch style, so we'll see what he could do. Does have a little bit of some injury concern with that being an 86. He's definitely in line to be a returner, though, with that 95 kick return. Now, a little bit of a surprise, it's actually Kerry Brown, who's the better of the two safeties that we took fairly early on. Again, whether they play at any certain spot is kind of, again, just a toss-up. If you want to take a look at who has the best block shedding of the two, it's actually pretty low for both of them. And technically, that does go to Tim Fleming, so it doesn't look like any of them are going to potentially be any sort of linebacker really for us. Maybe could slot out to corner, perhaps. Man coverage is still pretty low on both of them, so more so just looks like depth, a lot more depth for the free and strong safety spots. As for the other guys, Najee Tolbert, a 68, not too bad. Tyreek Rogers, someone who I figured might be able to participate a little bit. He's getting a boost up to a 71 right now, so he very well could be in line to see some play time, at least in some run-stopping situations, as he does have better block shedding than Tim Settle. And as for the actual linebacker that we picked up, 66 with the boost, definitely a run stopper, does not have any sort of cover abilities as expected with these outside linebackers. Even when they do have the A or B rating there, still don't expect it to ever be really good, but we needed depth at this spot and we have that. And here is the starting lineup for Season 5. Geno Smith's still going to be rocking at quarterback with Webster the primary backup. Again, coming down to that awareness. We still have Willis. Potentially we'll need to use him occasionally. We'll see. Richards is going to be the first and foremost main running back. When it comes down to this set, power back, third down back, he's the main guy. Herbert will back him up, and we also have Himes, who may potentially get out there occasionally. Wide receiver 1 is still going to be Zacchaeus, with 2 going to Wicks. We will play back and forth between Douglas and the rookie and Little to see who's that wide receiver 3. If someone's not performing, we're going to rotate. As for the offensive line, same as what we had last year. Nijman is going to continue to start there, though there is Selderberry. If Nijman isn't doing well, we'll switch it. When it comes to tight end, Jelani Woods will be the main guy, with Keene being the second. Third, we only have Schroeder right now, the fullback, so we ended up not bringing back a third tight end. We'll see if that affects us much. I want to get Schroeder out there as much as we can. He's a pretty good guy, despite him not having a great overall at tight end. He's pretty well balanced. As for the defense, defensive line is going to look the same going into this last season, though Rogers is technically slightly higher overall than Green, but the block shedding is better with Green as well as awareness. So we're going to keep him there, but again, if any of these DTs don't perform, we have a guy to put in. The edge rushers, Barno and Jimenez, will get the start. Barno, we'll see how well he does. Did a little bit better for us last year. If he's missing out, we're definitely going to start rotating some of these other guys in. Fuller and Douglas on the outside cornerback spot, with Jamie French as the slot. Linebackers is going to be Fields getting the start. If he does not do well at right outside linebacker, we do have Parsons. We also have Fry, though Parsons the main backup there. We shouldn't have to worry much about Edmonds and Diablo. Safeties are going to be the other brother Edmonds and Reed, again, same as last year. In terms of the specialists, we talked about most of these, but again, these are all set to kind of rotate where need be. At sub linebacker, one of the safeties we drafted last time around, not in today's episode, he's going to be that third guy taking over that spot for Thornhill, who we did end up having to cut almost all of the veteran safeties because they weren't translating to linebacker very well where we needed some depth, and they were taking up roster spots. So we had to get rid of them, but we're sticking with the same guys we had last year. This defense, very similar to the defense that got us all the way and carried us in the playoffs. So we'll just need this team to come through, and we're going to start to have to stack up some victories because, again, this could potentially be the last and final episode of this Virginia's States Only Challenge if we do not win. So let's start moving forward. And it couldn't have been a worse start for this team. 0-3 as we reach week 4. Through these games, what happened? We lost week 1, close overtime loss 26-20 to the New York Giants. In this one, we did give up about 350 yards, a little bit under 300 ourselves. Hendon Hooker, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Meanwhile, Geno Smith went 1 of 1, was sacked twice, completed 68% of his throws. Hendon Hooker also did pretty well running the ball, was their lead rusher. Eckler also did pretty well finding the end zone. Richards, 3 yards a carry for us, did get in the end zone, but we also gave up another one to Spiller, so it seems like we struggled a little bit to stop the run in this one. In terms of receiving, Emmett Little actually performed pretty well. 5 catches, 77, no touchdowns, though. Wicks right behind him. We were the top 2. So, I mean, that's not too bad. We did give up a touchdown to Chenault while getting a touchdown with Jelani Woods. So it seems like the passing game wasn't too bad in this one. Did we give up any sacks? 2. 1 for Sorsdahl, 1 for Darrisaw. As for tackling, Tremaine Edmonds led us with 11. We haven't even tackles for a loss. We gave up quite a bit. In fact, we only had a couple guys that got 1, or a few guys that got 1, but it looks like the main problem was down the middle in Odigizua. He and Sweeting were the ones that got the 2 sacks. The interception went to Cater Kohu. But in positive note, 2 for 2 in both field goals and extra points for Joey Sly. So this game was close. It was not close in the next one against the Carolina Panthers, 28-14. This time we gave up again a little over 300 yards. We got also a little over 300 ourselves. So at least seemed close there. There were no turnovers as Anthony Richardson had 1 touchdown. Geno Smith had 2. Both players sacked once, though. We only threw for 53% completion. And at some point, Webster had to step in. Looked like it was only 1 attempt, though. So potentially we went for it on a 4th down or a fake field goal. We got 3 yards, but I don't think it really helped us outdo much. Saquon Barkley, 2 touchdowns, 4.5 a carry. A little over 50 yards, 3.3 for Richards. And we gave up a rushing touchdown to Irving. Receiving-wise, A.J. Brown had a good game. Little continues to play well, so he's going to continue to get the start. Jelani Woods in the end zone once again, though we did give up a touchdown to Smith and Jigba. And then with only 2 catches, one of them was a touchdown for Dontavion Wicks. And we did see Sorsdahl give up another sack down the middle. Defensively, our leading tackler was Diablo, who had 7 tackles for a loss. Diablo had 2, tying that of Seiler. And a few other players got some as well. So we're doing decent there. Sacks was 1 for Seiler. And then Dante Stills was the first one to get a sack for us. But it was not as good of a game for Joey Sly. Did hit both of his extra points, but missed his only field goal attempt. Now against the Eagles, it was a slightly closer game, though we still lost by 11 points, giving up again around that same 330 mark. This time we only had 240 for ourselves. 2 touchdowns for Landry Cone. Geno Smith 1 and 1. Sacked 4 times, 55% completion. Richards, though, had a good game, just a little under 5 yards a carry. We did give up a touchdown to Blackburn. Haven't seen a whole lot from Khalil Herbert. A few carries each game. I mean, his average has been all right. Receiving, though, it was Rashee Rice who just gave us fits. 15.5 yards per catch with 8 catches, one of which for a touchdown. Jelani Woods was our main guy. Emmett Little in the end zone, despite not having as many yards in this game. And we did give up another touchdown to Parker Washington. And it was surprisingly Wyatt Teller who struggled in this game. 2 sacks given up, Sorsdahl with 1 in each of the first 3 games. So potentially might need to make a change at center instead. Darrisaw gave up 1 as well. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds, 12 tackles, pretty good. Tackles for a loss, 2 for Jimenez, who also had 2 sacks. Good to see. Edmonds had a tackle for a loss. Barno, we were in the backfield a lot, so that was good to see, though it apparently just didn't end up in the win. Stills also got a sack, though we did give up some to Dyson, Blair, and Campbell, so all draftees. But Joey Sly bounced back a little bit. 1 of 1, so not bad. So off the get-go, not fantastic for the offensive line, giving up several sacks a game. Let's make a change at center and then see how that does. And our only other option right now is Salderveri. So let's make that switch. They're pretty similarly rated in terms of awareness. We're going to see a drop with Salderveri, but pass block is better across the board. We're going to suffer in the run department. How do we look at guards? Good run blocker is there, not too bad, balanced in Sloan. And at right guard, Teller is very much the run blocker, though still a good pass blocker. So I think we could sacrifice there, maybe balance up that offensive line a little bit more. We'll jump through another couple weeks, see where that leaves us. And those struggles will continue with another 28-14 loss, this time against the Buccaneers. This time we actually had more yards though, 315. We gave up just shy of 300. It was another 1 touchdown, 1 interception day for Geno Smith. This time a little over 60% completion, though we gave up 2 touchdowns to Sammy Hendricks. In the rushing game, 2 touchdowns went to Zach Evans. We had 3.2 with Richards, but just nothing quite pushing this offense forward. It's been rather slow, reluctant. Zacchaeus does have a good game, goes over 100 yards, 1 touchdown. We give up a touchdown to Garrett Wilson. Wicks, decent game, but in this one, we kind of didn't see much from Emmett Little. 3 catches, 31 yards, and we gave up another touchdown to Zach Evans in the passing game. As for the offensive line, Salderveri gave up 2 sacks, so it doesn't look like he came in and did all too well in his first start there. Nijman does give up a sack, as well as Sloan and Darisaw. Defensively, best tackle was Kendall Fuller, and so the outside receiver or the outside corners were the ones getting the most tackles, though a lot of tackles for a loss. Settle with 3, as well as Jimenez, another one for Fuller. Then a handful of Tampa Bay defenders do pick up 1. In terms of sacks, we give up 3 right down the middle to Bernard King. So I think potentially we might need to maybe put back Sorsdahl back at center. We'll give Salderveri 1 more game, see how he does. Jimenez does get the sack, the only one for us. We gave up 5 in that game, and we threw a pick to Jerome Baker. And Joey Sly continues to leave points out there with another missed field goal. It was at least a closer game in week 5, but another loss, 13-10. Defense is keeping us in these games. It's just the offense is not scoring. Defense, though, still gave up 350 yards. Meanwhile, we were a little bit under 300 ourselves. Geno Smith, 1 touchdown, no interception, just 50% completion. And Palumbo, 1 touchdown, no sacks, no interceptions. Pretty decent, 62% for him. Clifton Richards, good game, just shy of 100 on 19 carries. We did pretty well against stopping the run here. Geno Smith even scrambled around a little bit, but not much of anything for the backup running back. As for receiving, we struggled against Wagner, who went 103 and a touchdown. McLeod actually had a decent game here. Not quite sure why he was playing. I don't remember seeing any injuries. Maybe he was just in this game itself, so we didn't see it. But he did get a touchdown. Nothing else really down the line, though. And it was Nijman who gave up 2 sacks, 1 for Darisaw and 1 for Sloan. So a bounce back, at least, for Salderveri. As for defense, it was Tremaine Edmonds with the leading tackle with 7, though Kendall Fuller still had 6. Tackles for a loss, 2 more for Settle, 2 more for Jimenez. Edmonds got 1. So we did pretty well there. Did give up 1 tackle for a loss to Cole Holcomb. Sacks, 1.5 for Jalen Carter and Callaway. And then a couple split for some other guys. But nothing really for us. Need to see something going here. Kicking wise, better day. At least 100% across the board here for Joey Sly. So as it sits right now, Geno Smith just doesn't seem to be getting the job done. He's solid, but we need to see more in terms of his overall stats for the season. 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's under 60% completion. He's been sacked 16 times. It's already 1 per game on average, and we're only 5 games in. Webster may need to get a start here just to see what he can do. Because right now, we need to do whatever we can to try to salvage this last season. Because right now, it definitely looks like this will be the last episode. So let's put in Webster and see what we can do. And this is a big game against the undefeated Dolphins. We have a lead through the first quarter. We're going to do the quarter sims, maybe jump in to that 4th quarter, depending on how things go. So as we get close to halftime here, we have a lead. 2 field goals. That's about it. And it'll stay at just the 2 field goals. So defense continues to play winning football. It's the offense holding this team back as we do finally give up some points. Now the Dolphins double it with a 14-6 lead in the fourth quarter. So we're going to slow things down a little bit here. A big penalty will help us out for sure. We're down to the 23. Let's actually watch this drive. Our first time jumping into some action here, Season 5. It's the I form, as it's going to be a handoff, bouncing to the outside, though not going to get very far. Just a gain of 1 for Richards. And we are using the San Fran playbook. We used it at a couple different points throughout the series. Did go back to the Virginia's playbook when we were in the postseason, and it worked until the offense couldn't score. As we do find Wicks, I believe, across the middle here, gain of about 7. Though I'd prefer 7 points. That was Wicks, his third catch, 45 total yards on the day. So we have a 3rd and 2. Will be a pass across the middle. First down, though, it's dropped. We need a touchdown here. You could potentially just take the field goal here. It would still leave us down, so that's not good enough for us. Play action. Let's try to avoid the sack, but the block does not come in from Woods. Will be a turnover on downs. Dolphins take over. They're already up 8. So as we continue on here, Jonathan Taylor picks up 4-1 for Taylor Lawrence. 3rd and 4. A sack by Amari Barno keeps us in this game. We need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Another penalty there definitely helps out. 1st and 5, a throwaway from Webster. Then we pick up the 5 on 2nd down with a 1st down. Into plus territory, pick up 1. 2nd and 9, a sack Alex Cadet. 3rd and 12. We leave it with a 4th and 5. And of course we're going for it. Webster also can scramble if he has at least some time to try to get outside of the pass rush. Those we have a pass right across the middle. It's knocked away. Needed that just a little bit higher. Cadet had the sack earlier in the drive, and he ends it with the swat. Once again, this defense needing to rely on them. 2nd and 7, they give up 4. 3rd and 3, they give up 7. Into plus territory, 10 more yards. Jonathan Taylor trying to put this game away as the clock is running down. As we use our last timeout, we have a 3rd and 6 throwaway, though in field goal range, as they do hit it. 17-6. Not much time. We give up another sack. 2nd and 15, a throwaway. 3rd and 15. We gain 4 yards, but we get the 1st down. Can we keep this thing going? We need a lot of points. Dontavion Wicks, appreciate it. Can this team pull off a miracle here late? We're down 11. We have no timeouts. Webster from the pocket is going to step up, roll down to the bottom, throws it out late, finding our guy. That's Wicks down to the 15. They stay at the 16 where he steps out. 35 seconds left. We need a touchdown on this next play. Then an onside. Need some more points off that. We could use a 2-point conversion, then the onside, then a field goal to send it to OT, but that's a whole lot of asking as we go towards the end zone. Zacchaeus was open. Pass got jumped, and that should just about do it. The Dolphins could kneel it out or rush for 7 yards and then seal the game, starting us off in our final season. 0-6. I don't think a team has ever come back and won a Super Bowl after starting 0-6. And it would take until week 12 for this team to finally get a win. 17-10 over the Patriots. So pretty official to say from here this will be the last and final of the Virginia States Only Challenge. So if you did not go vote earlier, definitely go vote now. Head over to the community tab on the channel to vote for the next state or states only challenge which will be out on Wednesday. We'll watch the last and final game of this episode, or of this series, as it looked like Malik Willis for some reason got the start in this game. I didn't change anything. It should have been Geno Smith, but apparently the game wanted Willis to start, and hey, he helped lead us to our first win. But it was not pretty on the way here. I can't even remember what one we stopped off on. I want to say Dolphins, maybe? Honestly, can't quite remember. Either way, it's been a whole lot of losses. A big one to the Seahawks, 42-7. Eagles also not great. Cowboys, is at least 28 points for us. We lost pretty bad to the Bills, 31-3. Just seems like this team has just about given up, so we'll jump forward to a very fitting game, of course, against the Falcons in Week 18 to round out this series. So for the final time, Geno Smith and this offense will head out to start off a game. As it's going to be a stretch up top. Richards with a decent little cut there will pick up one. It's a pretty fancy one, but we'll take it. As we move on forward here, 2nd and 9 from pistol. Geno Smith sitting, waiting, finally snaps the ball, handed off back down the middle. Richards goes really nowhere. They'll say about a yard, maybe half a yard, make it 3rd and 8. Going through resetting the depth chart, it did look like Madden massively changed things around, or didn't tell me that we had some injuries when injuries did occur, as we do get the first down going too little. He started the season off really well, and it seems like Madden kind of took him out. Don't know why Madden does that, but apparently that's still a problem here in Madden 24. As we swing it back out wide, going back to Little, picking up 6. Our first time actually getting to watch Little play. He was a Little plan, going into this season. Didn't think he would really end up fighting for any sort of starting spot, and he actually did. Very well deserved his time out there as a flag does come in. Not quite sure what it is. Holding makes sense. And call that one on Darasan. Will back us up for a 2nd and 14 as we stay spread. Geno sits in the pocket, delivers a good pass to Wicks, who will half the yardage needed on 3rd. Have to appreciate the veteran quarterback, the 36-year-old quarterback, taking the hit there for us. With a 3rd and 7, a hard count, no one jumps. Geno waiting, trying to find that opening, but it does not open up. A sack comes in from Lawrence, and we will have to punt away. And now for the last of the finals, almost. Defense comes on out. There will be a delayed handoff down the middle for Run CMC, who picks up 7 on play 1. Our defense did honestly really well at stopping McCaffrey in last year's NFC Conference Championship, or last episode's NFC Conference Championship. We'll see how well they do today, as McCaffrey does pick up the first down, 16 on his first 2 carries. Though he is not their only weapon. Brock Purdy, a fantastic quarterback. They also have a superstar receiver up in the top slot, though that might actually be a tight end. If I remember correctly, I feel like they have Kelsey or some other top tier tight end. So overall, just a really good team coming off a Super Bowl win. I honestly don't know how well they've done this year. Honestly, don't really care all too much, as we do break up that pass. Edmonds will end up forcing a 3rd and 10 with a spread look. 3 up top, the tight end down to the bottom. Brock Purdy in shotgun, sitting in the pocket, waiting. A little bit of pass rush does force the early throwaway. And defense will get us off the field. They've been good this year. Offense hasn't. And we'll see if they can get us down into scoring range. As on a 2nd and 1, we lose 3 yards. 3rd and 4, a sack. So very much the opposite of the first play, as we then lose a bunch of yards. Defense, can you do well for us once again? Gain a 2 on first down, then 12 to Kyle Blackshear. He did have a good NFC Conference game against us. McCaffrey picking up another 5. 14 more to Stephon Diggs as they get past the 30, though a sack comes in for Marcus Phillips, getting the start today. This due to Dalton Schultz is the superstar. Okay, did not expect that, but glad to see it, as it's a 3rd and 12, knocked away by Tremaine Edmonds. They do hit the field goal as the first quarter ends. Second quarter, can we get going at all? 2 yards Richards, then 7 more to Richards. 3rd and 1, we lose 3. So far, offense very much showing why this team has struggled to win games. Jamie French knocks it away, 18 given up to Adkins. Then 8 more Stephon Diggs. 2nd and 2, knocked away. 3rd and 2, Brock Purdy rushes for the first down. As they get inside the 30, a penalty on Tony Fields. Free first down at the 18. 7 more Brock Purdy. Honestly, I don't really think we need to watch much defense, though. Dalton Schultz scores, putting them up 10-0. Can the offense just give us something here in the last and final game? We have another 3rd down, and we pick it up. 21 yards to Emmett Little, crossing midfield, and then we lose 3 immediately. With 2nd and 13, we lose 2 more. 3rd and 15, we pick up 13. And Wicks is also injured on the play. Once again, this offense, very hit or miss. Get the nice chunk there, but then the injury on the play. As we'll toss this one out, we will find Woods. Not going to get the juke, but the first down to the 29. And why not? Let's just keep this thing rolling here. See if we could actually leak Woods out all the way to that back left pylon. Though they actually cover it all pretty well. As we have a one-on-one with Zacchaeus, who clearly didn't know where the ball was. As Newsome gets the pick, Falcons take over at the 30. Sometimes you just have to toss it up in the one-on-one, and more often than not, I feel like here in Madden 24, it does not work out all too well for you. 3rd and 3, a throwaway. So defense, once again, I mean, keeping us in these games if our offense can only manage some points. We have about a minute left here before half, and we're running the ball. Finally get a pass to Zacchaeus with the first down. Then Geno scrambles for 5, 13 more to Jelani Woods. As we're about 30 seconds left, let's run one more play and jump in from here. And apparently we'll be tuning in for a field goal, trying to see if Joey Sly can hit one from about the 31. He does. We're on the board at least in the first half, scoring the field goal. Was hoping we would see a little bit of something fun here in this last game, and so far it's showing why this season has gone how it has. The defense continues to play really well. It's just the offense never really came to fruition as we give up 13 yards on 3rd down there. First down, 8 more to McCaffrey. 2nd and 2, they give the first down with a penalty. Tyreek Rogers getting the start as we were missing Tim Settle. Never saw an injury crop up. 17 more yards to Christian McCaffrey. As they're inside the red zone, Blackshear picks up 6. 10 more Stephon Diggs and a touchdown to Xander Horvath, the fullback. Puts them up 17-3. Unless this offense can get things going here, might not be watching a whole lot here in the last and final game. Schroeder picks up 5 and then a sack Rashawn Gary. Punt away as we're halfway through the 3rd quarter, waiting to see this team do something. Defense has kept it 17 points. I mean, honestly, not too bad. Needed more from the offense throughout this series. They finally started to get things going last year. Saw some glimpses in the playoffs as Dalton Schultz gets the touchdown of what they could possibly do, but this year, whatever we were able to do last year, they just forgot how to do. As Richards picks up 1, 3 more for Geno Smith, a first down run on 3rd, and we will have to punt. No, we go for it. Emmett Little with the first down. Defense or offense being a little bit more aggressive here in the 4th quarter as we are down 21 points. Sack Omenahu, fitting. Then we'll pick up 8 right after. Zacchaeus 3rd and 7. We get 7, 4th and 1. Now, I might just play the rest of the offensive snaps in this game just to see what we can get done. As we have a pass across the middle, we do find Woods, but through his hands. Turnover on downs. So if we get back on offense, we will definitely run one last drive here with the team as a send-off for what was, I mean, overall it was bad. This was not a great state-only challenge. The team overall struggled to win games. Outside of Season 4, we've had a combined 9 wins. We won 9 games in Season 4, so there was talent there that just never fully sorted itself out. As Christian McCaffrey gets another touchdown for the Falcons, we'll head out on offense for the final time. Starting back at our own 26, Geno Smith. And this Virginia's only offense. Trying to get the job done one more time, though it's a quick rush around the edge. Hit in by Rashawn Gary. Potential with all this pass rush that's coming through. Maybe try to set up a halfback screen here as they come out with a double A gap. They'll drop back into coverage. We have a couple blockers out in front. Try to utilize those as best as possible as Richards eats the shoulder after picking up the first down. We will quickly get back to the line. Let's see, we do have Wicks off to the left-hand side, Little off to the right. We don't have major arm strength with Geno left anymore. As everyone's left deep, we'll essentially throw this one away. Though it was pretty good from the offensive line that time in holding up. We had plenty of time, though, just never quite had anyone find themselves open. As we go up towards the sideline for Little, knocked away Newsome. So on 3rd and 10, we'll bring out both the running backs with the split backfield. See if we can find something here. As everyone sits back in coverage, just try to loft it down for another interception. as that one goes to Peppers. Herbert was really the only one who was semi-open, but that will do it for us here. The final seconds tick off the clock in the Virginia States Only Challenge, and it will go down as the first States Only Challenge to one have to go into Season 5, but also to be the first failed challenge. Again, we're going to put an asterisk on this because of how that NFC Conference Championship ended. But that will do it for us here. It is a 2-15 Season 5 that sends us to the dead last column of the States Only Challenge, or State Only Challenge, and very well might be the first one that we come back to at a future point once we get through the rest of the States Only Challenge. But as we round off this episode, let's just see how everything went. And yeah, it definitely looked like for some reason Madden changed the depth chart. Don't know why. I tell it not to, but it does. Malik Willis ends up getting a start for a fair bit amount of time, and it's not good, though Geno Smith didn't have a good year either. None of these quarterbacks had a good year at all. As for the rushing game, Richards a little bit under 850, or around 825. He had 828. Let's just be straight up. He had 3.3 yards per carry, only 2 touchdowns. Not great. Herbert, in his limited time, actually didn't get as many looks this go around. He wasn't as effective. 2.6, did have 1 touchdown. Receiving wise, Dontavion Wicks was a starter for the full season, as well as Zacchaeus, so their numbers accurate, and they both played decently well. Woods was our third best. He had a lot of drops throughout his time starting with us, but was the best available tight end. Richards, decent in that game, and I would have loved to see what Emmett Little could have done if he actually started the whole season like I told Madden to, but Madden. That's how this series ends, really, with Madden being Madden. Blocking wise, how did that go? Not a good year for Darrisaw. 14 sacks given up, 12 for Nijman, and then 8 for Sorsdahl, 6 for Sloan, Salderberry 5 in his time starting. Teller played well every single season. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds, 130 tackles. That is a lot. With Adebo, the next closest guy, a near 40 less amount of tackles. Tackles for a loss, though, Jimenez had 18, Stills had 14. Phillips had 9, 7 for the rookie and Tyreek Rogers. So he actually had a pretty good rookie year. I'm perfectly fine with that pickup. But it doesn't look like... What happened to Tim Settle? He just kind of disappeared. Can you retire mid-season? Is that a thing? I'm going to have to check like after we go through the stats here to see what happened. Our leading sacker was Jimenez with 5.5, so just not good there. Interception-wise, our best was 2 with Kendall Fuller, so not much happening there. Joey Sly had his best year. Season 5, the year of Joey Sly, who finally had higher than a 70% completion on his field goals. There we go. That's the highlight of this episode, Season 5. Really strange. The team did really well Season 4, but absolutely nothing carried over. Now let's see if we could find out what happened to Tim Settle. So actually, for some reason, it would appear that the CPU was making free agent moves. I tell it not to. Everything is turned off. But in week 9, it released Leo Bush, one of our defensive linemen, and signed a left guard in John Gaines. Gaines didn't play, so I guess that's fine. And then in week 11, they released Tim Settle, who was our highest rated defensive tackle. And we signed another offensive lineman in Caleb Hoskins. I don't know. Madden went weird. It's not like we were close to making the playoffs anyway and just needed to win a couple games. So I don't think it ended up really affecting how Season 5 went, but it was a very strange Season 5 to say the least. But that will do it. The Virginia's States Only Challenge finishes as the worst State Only Challenge we've had so far. Sorry if you're a fan of any of the Virginia schools. It wasn't a good one for you. We will come back at a later date with, I guess, a little bit of some knowledge to how to approach this team, as it was definitely a bad start right from the fantasy draft because a lot of the starters were 28 plus years old, and all starting to regress, and we did not have any real good drafts, for being honest. The draft classes that we could utilize, they weren't very good. So it's just, it all snowballed into a not great state-only challenge. So let's look to bounce back with the next one. If, again, third time here, if you have not voted yet for the next state-only challenge, go do that right now. Head over to the community tab on this channel and vote. I always give 3 options. Whoever has the highest vote is the next one. Again, that one will start on Wednesday. Also, maybe let me know if you guys would like to see, similarly to this, the entirety of the regular seasons in one episode and then just playoffs in the next. We can kind of tweak the format of these as we go forward. But definitely go vote, hit that bell icon on the bottom right, or scroll down, hit the subscription button, and tick that bell icon so you're notified when these videos go live. This style series, the state-only challenge, is every single Wednesday and Saturday. Could be more in the playoffs if you guys hit the 50 like goals. We also have the Rams traditional franchise. We play every single game every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So 6 long form videos every single week, plus all the highlights highlighting everything that happens in these series. Though don't expect to see any for this one because we didn't see much of anything good happen. So until next time, with either the Rams or the start of the new state only challenge, we will see you then. Bye.